Hey guys, today I want to talk about Garrosh, particularly 4 common mistakes I see on Garrosh. I've talked about some of these things before, but I just want to go over them again in an actual video that talks about Garrosh. The first one is the throw and then the stun. I see too many people, they go up and they try to land their Q first, and then they take the slow and they use that to throw. But right after they throw, the slow's already over, and at that point, it's very difficult to follow up on it. So one of the better ways to do it is walk up, you throw, and then you immediately stun. And you can do this every single time because the range is exactly the same. Now, there was some confusion about it when I posted before that without talenting it, it's exactly the same. But technically, even if you talent it and get that extra 25%, it still works just about every time. Do you see? It just hits them at the edge of the throw this time. So it still actually works every single time, whether you get the talent or not at level 1. And I'll explain a little bit of when to go this talent over anything else and why the pros are going Warbreaker instead. So that's really the first major mistake that I see. Is I see too many people that lead up with their stun, and not only is it more difficult to land your stun, but it's also that you're using your main way to follow up on things. It's a 40% slow for 2 seconds and a stun that you could get after a throw. And it's much more effective and easy to follow up afterwards. So change up the way that you're actually setting up these throws, and instead of trying to initiate with a Q, which is hard to land, initiate with an E. Now, that leads me to the second mistake. People are always wondering, well, how are you supposed to land your E if you're not going to be starting up with a Q? And that's where I want to bring up 2 common mistakes that are done that people aren't doing on Garrosh, which is one, you sit in a bush in the only area that the enemies can come in, and then right as they're about to get up to you, you stay mounted. So you move faster than them, and you just walk up, boom. And they won't have enough time to react. Not only will they not have enough time to react, but if they're not mounted, you move faster than them. So it's very easy to just follow up and drop them very, very quickly. So always do that over and over and over. So utilize bushes, utilize your mount, as your mount allows you to catch up to them very quickly. If you're going against a Garrosh and you see that he's running towards one of your allies, one of the most important things to do is do damage so you can dismount them. If you dismount them, oh, I was really hoping she would have dismounted me there. If you dismount them, it means that your ally and the Garrosh will be running away at the same speed, and Garrosh will never be able to catch up to him. So those are the 2 other major mistakes. Now, let's talk about the builds, which also brings up the final mistake in this thing. So there's 2 major builds that are being used on Garrosh right now. The first build is the one that I like to call the Hero League build, and I'm going to show you why I call it the Hero League build. Hero League build is getting Unrivaled Strength, followed by Imdom, Into the Fray, Warlords, and then followed up by Double Up. Now, the reason why I call this the Hero League build is because it's the only build that gives you any sort of wave clear. Now, watch how much wave clear I actually have. Do you see how fast I'm able to clear a lane as someone who you would think wouldn't actually be able to clear a lane? I blew that whole wave up so fast. And the reason that I did it is because I have the extra 75% damage on my throw. I have the damage from Into the Fray. And with both of these damage combined, plus the fact that I've got my Q, my auto, W, all of that, I can clear up a lane very, very quickly. To show you again what it looks like, it's a very fast wave clear that you can do very, very easily. So if you find yourself needing to clear lanes a lot as Garrosh, going this build is very, very strong. Not just that, but getting the extra range on your E makes it to where if there's a fight mid, there's a higher chance that you can follow up on it because you can toss people over walls, you can toss people over areas like this because you have that extra range. So I call it the Hero League build. If you want to know why the pros are going the other build, the build that they go is Warbreaker, Indom, Into the Fray, Warlords, into defensive measures. The reason why is because with pro teams, you want to try to land your Q a lot, and you're going to be landing your Q a lot because of your flip combos and a variety of other tools, and you'll be able to get shield after shield after shield. So in coordinated fights, this will have way more survivability than Double Up. But Double Up in uncoordinated fights is going to have more survivability. So in Hero League, I recommend the other one, the throw one, and once you get good with them, or you start playing with some of the higher MMR people, I recommend switching over to the Warbreaker into the defensive measures build, as those are better. The final little mini mistake that I find a lot of times on Garrosh, it comes down to Into the Fray. Now, what does Into the Fray do? Into the Fray is a level 7 talent that does 3 things that are really important. The first thing is it throws someone, but during the throw it gives them unstoppable. That means, let's say for instance, you have a Chromie who did a temporal loop on someone. During the flight, they are immune to being moved, which means that if you can throw them at the right time, the temporal loop is negated. So the unstoppable is extremely important. I see too many people who always use Into the Fray defensively, or at times where they just feel like, oh, well, maybe I can save an ally and that's it. But you should be looking at this for 3 possible scenarios. 1, to use it for the unstoppable. You throw something just so it's unstoppable. All right. The second thing that you need to look at for is the fact that it slows and gives armor. Meaning, if you have an ally on your team like a Thrall, you can throw someone in, slow, give them armor, and then you can get right up to the enemies. And during that slow, it could lead to a throw or something else. And the third reason that you should be using this is to just simply get someone away. There are 2 other scenarios which you should be using Into the Fray, and we've already seen one that I like to use earlier, which is pretty much just use it for wave clear. It does a decent chunk of damage, and it can help get Garrosh out of lane faster and into hiding in a bush again. But the other reason is you can use it to add a slow to an enemy, so it's easier to land your other abilities. See how she's slowed? And I can walk up, and then I can go and do my throw from there. So utilizing this to throw even a minion at an enemy just so you can get that extra slow so you can follow up with a throw is always nice. But that's pretty much it for Garrosh. The 4 to 5 mistakes that I commonly see on Garrosh, things that really hold people back, especially like in the wave clear side. But I'd love to hear you guys' opinions about Garrosh in general. I think he's kind of a monster with the meta at the moment, and I don't think Blizzard really knows the best way to answer him. But I do think that he's always kind of on their mind. With the 3 bans, I kind of like that we rarely see him anymore. But overall, for those who are enjoying Garrosh and having fun with that, hopefully this video helps you out understand a little bit of the mistakes that I commonly see from people all the way up to diamond level, really, that are still making these mistakes on Garrosh. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and feel free to check out some of my other 4 mistakes videos and some of the other videos that I've got going on. I have Why the Pros Pick and a lot of other ones, so feel free to check those out, and yeah, thank you again for watching.